Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 8 of your pharmacy career planning course. Um, this week we are covering chapter 14, which is all about telepharmacy. I really find this chapter to be really interesting because it's a lot different than what we are typically used to when we think of a pharmacy setting. When we talk about telepharmacy, what's happening in this particular type of pharmacy setting is that there is no pharmacist on site. So the pharmacy technician themselves are working independent of the pharmacist as far as physical location goes. The main reason for this is because of the shortage of pharmacists, as well as just the fact that we have people spread all over. So we have a lot of patients in rural areas where we may not have a lot of pharmacists. So basically, the whole idea behind this is that most of what happens is still happening just like it would in a traditional retail setting. So we still have the filling and the computer uh, part of it. All of that is still the same. But instead of the pharmacist physically being there overseeing it, they're overseeing it using telecommunication devices. So the prescriptions are dispensed remotely, but the supervisor themselves is somewhere else. So you still have to know how to fill in a regular retail setting, but you also have to know how to use the technology. There's a lot of new legislation and regulations around this because obviously this is somewhat new. We haven't had this in the past. So this is a new and developing area of pharmacy. And because of that, not all places are able to do it because we just don't have the regulations and the legislation to behind it because it's just such a new idea. Um, Basically, um, we're going to remote into a base site, which is where the pharmacist is, and that system is under control of the pharmacist. So they're able to, decide what they're going to look at. They're going to activate and control any automatic dispensing machines. They're all supervisory. So everything that they do is supervisory. They're not going to be actually touching the medications though. Um, Ultimately, that's going to be up to the pharmacy technician. And again, this just kind of goes into a little bit more about the reasons why. Obviously, the idea that you can do this from anywhere is the biggest. You can have a pharmacy in the middle of Montana, and the pharmacist doesn't have to be there. They can be overseeing pharmacies all over the country. Um, the one thing that you need to keep in mind is obviously this is convenience access for the patients. However, there are some disadvantages. There is a cost, obviously, of setting up a remote pharmacist. Um, there's also special training involved. Not everyone is going to be able to use the technology, and the pharmacist is not going to be able to be there for the actual counseling. So that is a problem for some patients. They want to typically talk to a physical person when they're asking questions, and that can't happen in a telepharmacy situation. Although they can connect, remotely with them just like the technician can. Um, and lastly, because we have so many unknowns with this particular type of pharmacy, there is still reimbursement issues with insurance companies and things like that. There's several different models of telepharmacy. There is traditional telepharmacy. There is hospital telepharmacy. So this is where we're actually, there's no pharmacist in the hospital, and we're remotely preparing the IV medications. And, the pharmacist is able to remote in and watch the tech provide, prepare the IV admixtures, even though they're not physically there. So there's a lot of different things that can happen, and the textbook is gonna kind of go through and give you more detail about each of those pharmacy models and how they work and how they don't work. So if this is something, especially if you're in a remote area, if this is something that you think you might be interested in, I would definitely recommend going to your state board of pharmacy to see what the policies and guidelines are for that, and to start doing some research in what kind of opportunities are out there for you in the telepharmacy area. If you have any questions this week over this chapter, please make sure that you reach out to me and have a great week.